Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Catching up with SPUNJ's Dan Underkofler.
We're joined by Dan from SPUNJ today. The last time we talked to you, Dan, I guess was the end of February last year. So we're a little under a year since we talked to you, but you guys had a huge 2023. You did some, I think you played with the John T. Did you guys like do some reciprocal shows back and forth?
Yeah, we did a little back and forth with the John T. We had them out for 4 nights in the Pacific Northwest. We did Seattle at the Nectar Lounge. We played in Hood River, Oregon, at the River City Saloon, which is no longer. RIP to that place. It was a great spot. And then the Get Down in Portland and Blair Alley here in Eugene. And then they had us out for a night at Cervantes, which was awesome. We had a really good time. We met Andy Frasco that night. Had a couple other industry folks kind of come out and check out the band, and it was a big jumping off point for 2024 for us for sure.
Nice. They now whose idea is this? Was this your guys' formulation that hey, if we, make some connections like this that we can do these reciprocal kind of things?
I honestly don't remember. It was probably Sage's idea. If it wasn't Sage's idea, they probably reached out to us. I don't exactly remember whose idea it was, but I want to say it had been in our mind since about 2021, 2022 that in order to play a show in Denver that's going to kind of net us a bigger audience, more fans, more people to sell merch to, more people to bring back to the next shows, et cetera, et cetera. We were going to need to bring out a band that's already established itself in Colorado, already does good numbers, and kind of give them our piece of the pie here in the Pacific Northwest in order to have like an equal exchange, basically. And it's worked out huge for us so far. I mean, we've definitely pulled a lot of traction in Colorado, and it's given us kind of the jumping off point to really now hit the East Coast and kind of branch out from there. Because it just kind of brings the recognition of the name and the brand that much further. I feel like once Denver is kind of the final frontier when it comes to the jam band scene. So, that now that we've tackled that, we can kind of go anywhere.
Nice. Yeah, and I saw that you posted some great video. I think it's the full set on your YouTube channel from the other side, which is super cool too. So everybody can go on and watch that. Did you have somebody there like specifically to video, or like how did you get that?
So we carry around 4 small cameras everywhere we go, and then we have a media guy who does DSLR, like handheld shots. So in between doing still footage, he'll get the handheld video with like the zooms, kind of more dynamic shots, and then we'll splice that together with our still footage from the stage and the back of the room and so on and so forth. Kind of put it together as kind of our own little production, but we kind of do all that in house. Our media guy Paxton is awesome. He goes on the road everywhere with us. He lives here in town with us. He's actually Sage, our drummer, best friend from growing up. They grew up in Austin, Texas together. So he goes everywhere with us. We're really grateful to have him. Very experienced with video production and photos and stuff like that. So he makes a big difference. But yeah, we kind of do that all in-house.
Very cool. Yeah, I always wonder, especially that stage, because I live out here in Denver, is so narrow. I was like, wow, they did such a good job getting, like just that shot. But that's interesting to just hear your thoughts on kind of being out there. How has that maybe resulted in some conversations or plans that you all have going on for this year? Have you been able to kind of think about other markets now, and like what have you done like from that?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, Denver's kind of the final frontier that was kind of at the forefront of our mind. And now that we have good history there, we have good relationships with a lot of the venues, a lot of other bands there. it no longer takes up so much space inside of our brains, and we're able to kind of focus our energy elsewhere. Yeah. And lucky for us, kind of we had the option between, do we tackle the Midwest, do we tackle the Northeast, or do we tackle the Mid Atlantic to the South? And all three of those are excellent markets right now. They're all pulling really good numbers for the bands that are hitting them. But the big breaking factor for us was lodging. Where are we going to stay? So lucky for me, my folks live in Connecticut, so we're basically, after Denver, just gonna shoot over to Connecticut to crash with my folks. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for having us for 3 weeks. So yeah, they're gonna put up the whole band and crew, all six of us, for 3 weeks. So God bless them.
Wow, that's crazy. Over the last year, you haven't released any new studio music. Has the song pool grown? Have you been adding covers, new tunes?
A whole bunch, actually. Yeah, we've probably written, Uh, I would say just shy of like a dozen new tunes. We've got a bunch of new stuff as far as covers go. This last October, we threw our festival Camp Suds. And in part of that, we had a themed night each night. The first theme was colors. So we did like Pink Floyd, we did like the White Room from Cream, we did like Green Onions, 99 Red Balloons, whole bunch of color themed stuff. And then the following night was just kind of spooky, scary Halloween. So we covered like Frankenstein. We did like Werewolves of London, just kind of stuff like that. So we've expanded the repertoire. I mean, we learned over 20 songs for those two sets, and probably about 5 or 6 of them have kind of stuck and have like been a lot of fun. And then recently we played a birthday party for a good friend of ours who's like a big Beastie Boys fan. So we picked up a few Beastie Boys tunes as well. We did Girls in our last Ben show, which you can watch on YouTube, which is a lot of fun. And then we did Fight for Your Right to Party at our last New Year's show. Like right as the ball dropped, he was like, kick it. And
Nice.
that was a lot of fun. That was really cool.
You went old school with the
Yeah.
Beastie Boys there. I've often wondered why nobody covers stuff off of Check Your Head. Like
Oh, it's, yeah.
Something's Got to Give. I think that would be a perfect cover for a jam band. It's so open ended, you know?
Well, and there's a lot of good live elements to Beastie Boys stuff that, I feel like is overlooked too. Yeah, I mean, definitely.
That's fantastic. So you said 5 or 6 songs hung out that were the covers there. Are they Halloween ones, or was it mostly the color ones?
A little bit of both. We've got a couple tunes that we've been working just like that Frankenstein jam into, just because it's so much fun. Just kind of as soon as you hit those notes, you could take that song into like those 4 or 5 minutes and then bring it right back to where you were. And it's just like people always appreciate you being able to run through a kind of a classic like that, I feel like. And it's a really good show of musicianship, of the fact that we're tight, we're together, and we can learn material, but we can also write material. And then probably our biggest other one besides Frankenstein that we've adapted like pretty heavy is "Have a Cigar" by Pink Floyd. It's really epic, kind of spacey, psychedelic one for us that we've really been leaning into and having a lot of fun with lately, for sure.
Fantastic. So the new songs, you said you might have up to a dozen. How are they? How is that working with your set list construction? When you bring in new songs, could you say in your head, this one's an opener? We're just going to open with a brand new tune tonight, or do you find yourself doing some of your hits and then throwing them in?
I think a lot. I think a lot of these new ones really kind of are hits. Like I feel like a lot of the mindset with the newer tunes is just kind of like take all the best elements of everything that we know how to write, everything that really gets the crowd moving, gets the energy in the room really going. I kind of think that's kind of the basis of where we're at right now, is writing songs with the energy that they can they can end the set list with great energy. They can start the set list with great energy. They can kind of fit anywhere. I almost think we need to pay a little bit more attention to the quieter side of things at this point. We've got a
To
lot of
get
really
the
high
ebb and
energy stuff
flow,
going.
to get the ebb and flow through a set kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the probably in terms of live. I think we bring a lot of really great energy, but the one thing I think we could do every once in a while is just kind of quiet down and take it slow just for a moment. I don't think we always do enough of that, but I think sometimes we do a pretty good job of that.
Is it more of like an energy thing, do you think? Or maybe like what do you think it is? Because we hear this a lot, I feel like, from different artists who have kind of over time, I guess, more readily, for whatever reason, been able to take that slower, just different type of path with that sound.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is. I mean, we're still relatively young. We're still pretty new at this thing. I think we get very excited when we see a full room of people just kind of really eating it up. I think it's. I mean, it is happening more, which is great, but it still doesn't feel like we're totally getting used to it. It still is just as exciting as it always was, which is great. I love that fact. But I think it does like really kind of kick up the anxiety, kick up the energy. And I think just by default, we have this tendency, like, even if we have slower songs written in the set list, it's like, skip that one. We're not playing it. Let's keep these people dancing. Like, let's have fun.
You got to look out for the old people, though. We need a break. We need to like just sway for a minute there.
Well, I don't want to I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I will say there's a thing about the West Coast is when you start to quiet down during your set, the chatter begins. You can
Chomper
really
City.
start hearing people start to talk, and and it's like, I don't know if that's a universal thing. I my whole musical career has been on the West Coast, so I don't really know. But I do remember crowds being more attentive. Maybe that's a pre-COVID thing. I don't know. It could be anything, but I do remember some moments where the music would fall silent, and so would the crowd. But it's not happening as often as I remember, I guess.
Well, we're going to have to touch base with you after that massive Northeast run, because I'm from the Northeast originally, and I always felt like we got a bad rap for being super talkative, but maybe that's just my specific group of
Yeah.
the base that I rolled with. I don't know, but yeah, it is a thing. And it's interesting to hear your perspective from where you're seeing it and how you're kind of responding to it, which makes complete sense to me.
Right, and I mean, as much as we want to be true raw artists in the sense that, like, oh, we don't play to the gallery, we don't care what the audience thinks, like, we're not at a point where we can be that arrogant. Like, we need what the audience wants. Like, we need to be making what they want, otherwise they're not going to keep seeing us, and we're never going to make it to the next place that we need to be. So, like, we kind of have no choice but to play to the gallery at this point. And I think once you really start packing rooms across the entire country and getting comfortable, I think that's kind of what allows the people to get sort of patient, like Spafford is. You know what I mean? Where they can really sit on something for 40 friggin' minutes, and every bit of it is good and listenable, and there's something there that's like great content wise. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it really.
I feel like Corey Scheckman is the MVP for 2023 for any band. He just took Spafford to another, just his energy.
I
He
agree.
like injected some life into them with after Red left. Nothing against Red, but they played together, the four of them, for however many years. Now you got the young guy coming in and just tearing it up, tearing it up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We talked to Peter Negroponte from Gorilla Toss the other day, and he was saying the same thing you were about. You have to play to the crowd. You want the crowd to like what you do. He's like, isn't that the point of what I'm doing? Is for the crowd to like what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I think we're long past the years of being able to pull a Sid Vicious on stage and, and have everyone just eat it up and love you for it. I don't think that's, maybe, and also I think it's also genre specific. I think jam band fans are far more likely to just write you off as soon as you play one single bad show. You know what I mean? I feel like they are so ready to grasp onto the next hot thing and push away whatever was 5 years ago that you have to keep up with the times. You have to keep making people happy, and otherwise, you're gonna end up. And I won't say any names. I'll just leave it right there.
So a couple days, you're hitting the road with lespecial. You want to just touch on that a little bit before we get out of here today?
Yeah, sure. We played a few shows with lespecial in the past, but this is the first time that we're getting to do a 4-night run with them, which is exciting. I think kind of our goal over the last few years was to establish market history in the Northwest that's steady and solid enough to be a long-standing support for bands like Lay Special and like other bands that are coming through, in which they can rely on us to to be that great opening band that's going to bring folks in, et cetera, et cetera. I'm really excited about it. I think Lay Special is probably one of the hottest bands out there right now, in terms of like their trajectory. So it's definitely an honor to be able to kind of share the stage with those guys as they're kind of on their way up. I grew up in Connecticut, so it's really cool to be kind of adjacent to Connecticut based. I know some of them are New York, but a Connecticut based jam band. And it's really cool to get to kind of every year look forward to playing with these guys again. Our first show was in 2022 with them at the Star Theater in Portland. And I think that was the first time besides us opening for Twiddle where we were like kind of next to this next level of jam band and kind of getting to see how they operate. And it was really, really eye-opening. I mean, their tour manager, Chris, is just like this absolute mastermind. Like, dude is just a beast. And it's always really cool to see him like right after the shows, like he's just editing footage and editing photos, like literally right after the show is done. I'm like, you're amazing. I wish we had somebody on our crew like you, So it's cool. It's amazing to watch them hustle, and it's just they're really, really inspiring, not just from like a back end perspective, but just like to watch them perform is just like nothing else either. Like their confidence, their stage presence, it's all really, really inspiring. And hopefully we can get David to play sax with them again. Last time David sat in with them on sax, he played like 46 and 2 or something like that, and by Tool, and then like they did an original. They did like Tunberry, one of their singles from last year. But yeah, really, really looking forward to this one. It's going to be an awesome time, and can't wait to show Lay Special around the Northwest for real this time.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.